Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Monday, December 8th, coming at you with what are you doing, Adam Peak?
Come in.
What's up, guys?
Hello, can you hear me? Are we on?
We got Corey the Caveman Connors coming at you live from Seattle, Washington, up in the
Great
PNW.
Northwest.
Home of
Beautiful
City Thunder,
Oregon.
Right. And we got Adam the Pale Man Peak, as always, coming live from Salt Lake City, Utah. The Utes.
The middle.
From the Label Kingdom, live from the Label Kingdom, live from the.
And then you got me, Evelio Matos, coming at you from Scottsdale, Arizona. All right, we got some stuff to cover. We got we were gonna have a special guest, Justin Garrity, but he had other things pop up.
Hopefully next week, he said.
Maybe.
So
we're still going to talk about Compost. We're still going to talk about him.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't show up doesn't mean we skip out on the show. Adam Peak, what do you got going?
I got a nice little Saturday plan. Might go to Bed Bath & Beyond. Frank the Tank.
I don't know.
So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We got we're going to talk about compostable packaging with Justin Garrity, who runs a composting facility. And last time he was on, he explained all the issues with compost and the reality behind what happened in terms of separation and how it's easier to just trash it than gamble on whether or not it is compostable.
Yeah.
And that, all those little chasing arrow things that go on there, like they actually physically have to manually find it to determine if it's there or not. And if it's too hard to find, just landfill it, right? Because that's not the point of their business, is to compost packaging. They're there to sell compost.
Right. Yes. I was amazed at how much time they spend breaking down loads of bad product or maybe spoiled fruits and vegetables. I thought that was really interesting because that happens a lot in the industry.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today, since we don't have Justin on, I'm going to ask you two some questions.
Oh, man.
Oh,
but I want you to answer them.
The devil's in the house of the rising sun.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do.
You still have that.
I do still have that. I love that. That's my ringtone. If you guys have any questions, if you're watching this, you got any questions on compostable packaging, throw them up in the comments and we'll add it to the list. But I'm going to ask you first, Corey, the Caveman Connors, if it's compostable,
false.
Does it mean it's going to break down anywhere?
No.
Yes.
It depends on the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Things like they've dug up old landfills from many years ago and still found newspapers in there that they could read. Mm-hmm. Which means that even though this paper is technically compostable, if it doesn't get the right oxygen, heat, moisture mix, it won't break down into something that can be used again as compost.
Yeah, 100%. I remember having Bo Peck on the Packaging Boxed podcast, and he explained they dug up, some of the landfills where he provides his trash to,
Salt Lake City.
And they found leaves. Like old, grass clippings, leaves, tree trimmings, like that just didn't break down in a landfill. It needs a specific environment. So absolutely right.
It seems like the idea of a landfill versus the execution of the landfill is a lot different. Where, and I've asked a lot of people this question because I'll see things like breaks down in landfill in 7 years, and it's usually some sort of formula that's based upon the perfect conditions of the landfill.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the goal of a landfill is to be a sealed tomb so that we don't let methane escape when things are breaking down, which means that things are not supposed to break down inside of a landfill.
Right.
So anytime I see this stuff that's like, oh, this is going to break down in a landfill, I automatically question which
Do they understand
what So and it's like in a lab, yeah, I guess it would make sense that it would break down, or if it's an uncovered landfill.
Mhm.
But I don't think that uncovered or unmanaged landfills are a great idea. Even though stuff is going to break down,
Right.
it's going to break down and release stuff into the atmosphere, which is not great
Yeah,
for
it's
our
the
atmosphere.
complete opposite of
or
what's
or into the water stream, yeah, into the local environment.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
all right. So then, if a landfill is supposed to be sealed, so can you explain how that happens, how that works?
Oh yeah, we could talk about Pantone's color of the year.
Inspired by Dirty Snow by
that-
Compost.
there's
with
no-
Dirty Snow.
There's no better topic than Pantone's color of the year to sell stuff at the Pantone store. From what I understand, there's a lining on the bottom of the landfill so as to not
That'd be
let
plastic.
stuff-
Yep.
Yeah. So there's plastic because it turns out plastic's pretty good at doing the thing where it keeps
Not breaking down.
from breaking down. And then there's a covering that goes over the top. I want to say it's daily or weekly, or there's a
Daily.
regularity. Is it daily?
Yeah.
Yeah. To keep stuff from emitting into the atmosphere. And then oftentimes there's even some engineering that's going into these to capture whatever methane is going to
Right.
escape so that it doesn't release into the atmosphere.
That's pretty new, right?
They're all good things to do for landfills, but it costs a lot of money. That's another point. I remember I was talking to my friend Rob Pilecki, who is now the owner of Washi and the founder of Washi.
Oh yeah.
But prior to that, he worked in city management, and he told me that the cost to manage the landfills is one of the top budget items for the city. It's just a very, very expensive proposition to keep the landfills managed. So
Yeah. So I've got a couple of different layers happening in a landfill, right? So one, you've got your native soil. So you're starting from the very bottom. You've got the soil that's there, right? You've dug this area out. You've got the native soil. Then on top of that, you've got a clay liner, which is basically just a silt, a clay that'll swell up when it gets wet. So it'll help reduce the amount of stuff that's going through it. But you do want it to have you want to be able to move liquid through. Otherwise, you're filling up this area with heavy, dense, wet material. Then you've got your plastic liner, your HDPE membrane that covers this entire thing. It's about 60 to 100 mil thick. You got heat welded seams. It's chemical resistant. And then when people say that plastic is bad, right? Like, well, this whole thing is stopping
a lot of bad
everything
stuff.
from leaching into the soil. So
Yeah.
from basically poisoning us. Then you've got above that, you've got a drainage gravel layer that's going to allow some of that moisture through to seep to the bottom. Then you've actually got pipes in here that kind of run through like veins to help move the liquid into different areas. And you've got your waste. And then on top of that, you've got your daily cover, right? That's going to be soil or clay or some other type of material, gravel that goes on top of there to keep odor down. And then on top of that, you've got a collection layer, which is more pipes and wells to drive all of that methane that you're talking about. And then you got the final cap, right, which is at the end when they seal that thing off.
That's cap.
Yeah, no cap.
No cap. And if they don't put that daily cover on, the birds will go crazy for the material. Is
It'll
what
smell.
I've seen too, and it will also smell. Yeah.
Yeah, and and that doesn't allow the landfill to operate the way it's supposed to. We've got a quick question here from Edric saying, "Do you think it's dangerous how misinformed the general population is on what biodegradable and compostable packaging means?"
It's dangerous only in that I don't think there's a whole lot that can be done about it right now because
It's so confusing.
it only really is bad if you think about it. If somebody marks something compostable or biodegradable and then somebody reads that and puts it into recycling, because it just creates problems in the recycling stream.
Yeah.
Outside of that, if it's probably best to just throw it away, which is likely where if we have a recycling problem, I don't think that we necessarily have some massive problem where people are over recycling compostable materials. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it's annoying. But at the end of the day, I mean, this thing that I got, it says compostable lid. and that's it. It just says, I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see this or not. All it says is caution, contents hot, compostable lid made from PLA, number 7 recycling. So this would be a confusing thing to put on there because you have the chasing arrows.
Yeah.
You
So
can't really
nobody's reading anything else. They're just throwing it in the recycle bin.
they're either throwing it in the trash or the recycle bin. But if you're at the store where this was and you're
Mhm.
buying, you consume the food, you got this compostable lid, and then you're like, oh, I could recycle or throw this away. You probably throw it in the recycle bin to feel good about yourself. And that's what's like companies who buy compostable packaging, especially restaurants, utensils, and you don't have a way to collect the compost
Separately, right?
and sort it and send it to an industrial composter,
You're doing more harm than good.
you're spending more money
Right.
on
Unnecessarily. Right.
on something that you don't understand the full mechanism of what's going on. So this is very confusing. I didn't even look. I thought this had I thought this said like, BPI certified or something. There's no certification on this. So just so you know, an NGO trademark, this, even if this ends up at a composter, they're likely throwing this in the landfill because there's no certification on it. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, and I posted last week about a plate that said BPI compostable, and then it said not compostable in California. And people were just like me, very confused. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, is it compostable or not? And the
it's
answer
not in
is
California.
not in California. What does that mean? Well, it's not certified because they still don't have anything on their approved compostable packaging or materials list,
Yeah.
which means nothing is considered compostable in California.
Yeah. And going to Edric's message here, I think the question is the fact that the general population uses both of those terms interchangeably, biodegradable and compostable,
True.
and they do mean different things.
Mhm.
So when somebody sees compostable, they assume it's biodegradable, which biodegradable means that you can put it out in your yard, right? Like you can just, it's fine if it's in nature, right? It's fine if it's out in the streets. And I think that's where it's not necessarily dangerous, but it does become an issue because that's where you get a lot of litter, you get a lot of waste.
Very
and
confusing.
Somebody feels fine about it. Oh, it's no big deal. It'll degrade.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We'll toss it in the yard.
Technically, everything is biodegradable. It's
Eventually,
going to degrade out in the atmosphere. The question is, what is it going to degrade into? How long will it take to degrade? But the elements will, I mean, if you think about your vehicle, your car is going to biodegrade if you leave it outside. Your car is biodegradable.
Yeah.
It's it's going to get rusty. It's going to get all that stuff, right? So, or where, depending on where you live. So it's just biodegradation is a confusing term. I prefer compostable because at least there's some type of certification. You can hold somebody accountable. Like I feel like this company who makes this lid, they should be held accountable because you should have to prove,
I agree.
hey, this is how we certify that this is compostable. And the same thing would go for recycling.
Yes.
But biodegradable also means that it breaks down into like natural material, something natural, not.
How do you define natural? Is metal natural?
Water,
Yes.
carbon dioxide, and biomass.
Is that like an actual definition? Is there like a FTC?
Forget FTC. Let's go to Webster.
I don't think that Webster is a governing body. My point is,
if a term is a term, what does it mean?
Right.
Yeah. I think that biodegradable if you're going to communicate something on a package in the US, then there has to be a way in which you can be held accountable for communicating whatever that is, whether it's recycling, compostability, biodegradability. What was the other one? Oxo degradation was a word for a while.
That was a whole thing, right?
Yeah,
Right.
water. If you're going to claim something, there should be some sort of standard objective truth that says this is going to happen. And if we can't do that, then companies should be held responsible for putting false information, because that's what causes the confusion. You can't just throw compostable on PLA plastic. It's not compostable in the state of California, which is a pretty big state.
Biodegradable, capable
hear
of being broken down, especially into harmless products by the action of living things. Capable
Yeah.
of being broken down, especially into
Harmless is a very
innocuous
subjective word.
products
That
by
is-
the action of
Harmless is super
microorganisms.
subjective.
Is it though?
It's so subjective. Is carbon dioxide harmless? Is
No.
carbon harmless? Everything is we're talking about carbon-based matter. Is breaking down into carbon dioxide harmless? No, that's harmful. So technically then basically everything would be not biodegradable. I mean,
Right.
if we're going to go by the Webster's dictionary, which we should not do.
Why not? It defines every single word. So, there you
It's like
go.
the original ChatGTP.
That's right.
Okay.
So Edric says he's
Let's hear it,
studied PLA in chem class, where it's a biorenewable plastic that some companies use because it's compostable, but only in facilities over controlled temperatures in 6 months. I wouldn't have known that it was actually difficult. It was actually that hard unless he was researched it. So same thing, right? Consumers don't do this research. They just assume compostable means it's going to break down. Biodegradable means it's going to degrade in nature. Right?
Right.
But that's the challenge, is that most consumers don't know, right? They just assume, especially in the US, most consumers have failed chemistry in their senior year. So they don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, and also just the sheer complexity of taking corn
Mhm.
and turning it into oil is not a simple process, right? I mean, and the question of should we be taking food as a resource and converting it into plastic? I'm not convinced that is the best way to go.
So let me ask you this, because that's a good term. That's a good point. Is compostable automatically better for the environment than plastic? Than standard
Absolutely
plastic?
Not automatically, no.
Because you're requiring
are-
food crops, you're competing, with land for human food.
I'll tell you one aspect. I mean, we've been kind of taking a dump on compostability, unintended.
Mhm.
But one spot where I thought it was good was actually with a company called Steeped Coffee, and
Mhm.
so they had these like tea bags of coffee that you would take mostly camping. And so the idea was, okay, if everything is certified compostable from the wrapper to the bag to the coffee grounds, if this ends up in nature, since the idea is to take it with you, if it ends up in nature, then there is a non-harmful degradation that will eventually take place. There's no fossil fuels involved in that manufacturing. And I thought that's a good use case. Not that it's the best thing to just like, dig a hole and bury it in the ground like you would your actual crap, but you could, and it wouldn't be harmful, right? So I
As
thought,
far as you know.
as far as I know, yeah, as far as I know. Now you've got questions about the inks that are being used in the printing of these the sachets.
They have like PFAS in the coatings.
Yeah,
Right.
but is it going to be better if that ends up in the waterways than if a standard
And what if everybody did that? That's my thing. I always think about like, okay, if there's 100 campsites and every single person had a cup of coffee every day and they put that in the dirt next to their campsite and everybody did that every day, how long, we'd have huge piles of coffee grounds and packaging in every site.
probably, but yeah, I mean it's a good point, but of course everyone is not going to do that, right? Everyone is
Right.
not going to buy steeped coffee and bury their stuff. They're probably going to pack up their stuff in a garbage bag. They're going to take that garbage bag. The steeped coffee is going to end up in a landfill, hopefully, where it likely won't break down, which is good because that means the landfill is working. If it's breaking down, then the landfill is not working. So
Right.
we're back to the original point. But at the very least, I thought there's at least a consideration of the environment in which this is being used and
I like
the
it.
opportunity that it ends up in a waterway. is higher than in other places. And so therefore they made the decision to go with a certified compostable film. And I thought that makes sense to me.
You know, talking about PFAS, I buy Kerrygold butter for my house. I like the taste. Come to find out, they've been sued this year for having PFAS in their wrappers, which then transfers
Error, PFAS wrappers.
right? So still, like you think you're making a good choice in some of these areas, and then you come to find out that the packaging holds these chemicals that then get transferred to the food, and that's kind of when we get into some of these coatings. You know, if you've got like a compostable coating, it doesn't necessarily, just because it's compostable doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe, right? Or that it doesn't contain some of these additional chemicals that you may not want, you know, in your body or in the soil.
Do you think that adding PFAS into all this stuff is only going to accelerate the need for nanotech robots to go into our body and eat all of the PFAS? Is that
possible? That is the plan. I'd like some robots in my body. Hey, all right. So with compostable packaging, do you think most cities can handle compostable packaging at scale?
I do not think they can.
I don't think there's very few right now. And that's the problem. There's not enough. And when I had Justin on the podcast, that's what he talked about. He said, yeah, we're doing a great job here because of his company. And,
and here, meaning like that vicinity, not the state,
literally
not the city,
that area 100 miles away, max, something like that. He gave me a distance, but we've got a long ways to go. And states like Oregon, where they had a very robust program, they stopped taking packaging because there were so many things in packaging that said compostable that weren't really compostable.
Yeah. And then you're getting, people don't clean out their packaging, so you're getting additional products
100%
moving with that. And then people don't necessarily want bioplastics, right? If you're a brand or a company that's buying compost, you want compost.
You can't certify it as organic if there's packaging in it. And that's the problem, is people want organic compost.
That's the whole that's the whole point behind it, right?
That was the economic issue of industrial composting, was something that Justin had brought up that we should have him dive into a little bit further. Hopefully I remember to send the meeting invite so that he doesn't get double booked. But if you think about it from a business perspective, you are trying to spend money to sort and find packaging. And by the way, do the noises from my computer come through on your headphones?
For sure.
That's amazing. I'm so excited about that.
Like,
I will close
my meeting.
You got an email.
I will close my email. So it makes for a great podcast content.
Who was it, Adam? Who was it?
It's just an art file that has to be approved. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So
take care.
So you have packaging that we're sending to these places that costs money to get rid of, to put into a separate pile, only to then take that pile and sell it for less value than if it's just food waste. Food waste is, organic waste creates organic compost, which can be sold organically at a higher rate to the places that need good organic compost. So that's the natural flow of these industrial composters. And now we're chucking a whole bunch of packaging in to the middle of it that has to be sorted out of it so that they can keep selling their product for the most amount of money. This is why I think we're going to struggle with compostable packaging, because there's no feasible economic way forward for this to make sense, other than just pumping a bunch of money in.
Here's the
federal governments.
There you go, man. The additional issue here is that you're going to see a lot of brands switching to compostable.
Yeah.
Right. Moving into some of these plastics. Compostable is helpful to the brand because it's going to help them escape plastic taxes. It'll help them dodge some EPR fees. And essentially they're just greenwashing, right? If you're using compostable plastics in a place that doesn't have compost collection, separation, or even an end market, then you're just moving the finances of that, the cost of that, onto the city. you're not leading with more sustainability. You're just moving the money down the line to consumers, right? If you move to the cities, you're moving it to consumers.
Corey, do you know, are any of these EPR bills putting money towards composting facilities?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
It's the focus is recycling, reuse, and that's it for now. There's been a real push away from compostable packaging because of all of the things that we've mentioned in the last 25 minutes. It's absolutely confusing. The composters don't want the material. It's not working. People don't understand how to do it. If it says recyclable, does that mean it's compostable? If it says it's compostable, does that mean, and it just becomes this circle of confusion. And until we have clear definitions and clear rules, I don't see it being successful. But I hope it does. I hope I would love to be able to compost my food and my packaging and grind it back up and turn it into soil. That would be awesome.
So what would you do with that soil, Corey?
Well, I would make a pile and jump on it. No, I don't. I love to grow things. I think gardening is awesome. I think people should do it, but we have to make sure that there's no chemicals in these things that would affect us, because we're dealing with that enough already.
Yeah, if you're composting PFAS and then putting it into your garden and growing vegetables,
And then
are you actually doing anything positive for
Right.
your human bodies?
It's very confusing.
or you can just go to the grocery store and just buy the PFAS already in the vegetables.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right. Or in my butter.
See-
Right.
Jeez,
or my butter.
my video on TikTok talking about like plastic in Costco, because I don't ever log into TikTok. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people who are really upset. And every solution that has been proposed so far about how to get plastic out of like fruits and vegetables is completely worthless, because it's always about some sort of like, well, just go buy from your local farmer's market. I'm like,
How do they get there?
do you know how this, or it's like, yeah, how they used to do it. I'm like, how they used to do it was throwing out a lot of food. That's how they used to do it.
That's right, Hugh.
That's right. That's right. Every time I turn on my tap, it just comes. It's Fiji water.
Straight from Fiji. Yeah.
Oh man.
I think the thing is that we're going to have a really difficult time, even with EPR. I really think we're going to have a hard time getting out of plastic packaging because its usefulness and cost ratio is so positive.
Dude, there's no getting out of plastic packaging. This year, 2026 coming up, I think we're going to see a big boom in plastic packaging.
Hot take.
But
Hot take.
we can
Coming in. Coming in hot.
we can wrap up here. Thanks so much for joining us. I do want to show you this. I got this catalog from Marine Layer.
Oh yeah.
It's all I wear. But this I thought was pretty interesting. It's like a pre-roll,
Cannabis.
joint in an ashtray as part of their catalog, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because it's
It's a lifestyle brand. Sounds
it
like.
is. I think so. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And if you want to get me a gift, I do wear a large. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Stick
Large
around. We'll see you
joints
guys
only.
on Wednesday. Throw comments in here. Thanks, Hugh. Thanks, Edric, everybody for joining us.
It's Sustainable Packaging Podcast. Check out StreamYard. Get $10 discount.
$10 discount. Sign
All
up
right, we'll see
today.
you guys. Check out the Packaging a Box podcast coming up with a trend report for 2026.
Ooh.
Yeah.